Hey everybody, it's me, Matt from AiDIY, the AI music guy. Today, I am going to talk about the open letter against Suno and Udio from the top music attorney and Phoenix from our own community, his response to that. There will be a little bit of reading in this episode, so stay tuned. Cool, welcome back. Now, if anybody doesn't know, and I'll bring some stuff up on screen, top music attorney is someone that people in this community pay particular attention to because she talks a lot about copyright infringement, how AI music is impacting things and the legalities behind it and all that stuff. Her thumbnails are often very clickbaity and shock value and all that, but if you get past that, oftentimes there's information in there that's valuable. Sometimes it is very self-serving, so I'm a little bit careful, but in any case, I'm specifically talking about the lawsuit with the open letter that she's brought against Suno and Udio. If you want to watch the entire thing, there's an update to it. There's going to be a link in my description down below. You can do the whole thing. But in summary, the issue that she took was that Suno and Udio, she specifically mentioned Suno in this particular video, admitted to sampling tens of millions of songs, when creating the AI in order to make AI music. And her point is that it was the vast majority of that was taken from independent artists, and independent artists are typically the ones who suffer the most in the music industry when it comes to losing revenue. And that's all well and good and true and all that stuff. Before I get into Phoenix and his open letter, I'm just going to give a quick footnote on my take about my opinion on that. So ChatGPT was sued by publishing companies, I want to say a year ago. That basically was, I think it was thrown out of court. It's either thrown out of court or it was quickly settled. To me, that created a precedent where they're basically saying like AI samples from things. That's how we have AI. And I always find it frustrating that people in music seem to think that they're separate from the entire world in the way that things are applied to them. When ChatGPT does it when it uses DALL-E, it samples from millions of different other artists that created photos and all that. And legally speaking, that's all been settled. It's all said it's okay. I mean, ChatGPT samples from, and all the other AI samples from millions of newspaper articles that have been written in the past, blog articles, and that's been settled. It samples it. And a lot of the stuff is protected. It's copyright protected. Like even when you publish it, it's protected in a way. And that's all been settled. So I wonder why this is to be considered completely separate. This art form is separate from all other art forms in this case. So I don't know if that applies. But also for Miss Crystal and top music attorney, I mean, my experience with her, and I appreciate the hustle and I like the business aspect of it. I mean, I don't know if she's necessarily looking for a big win out of this or the attention. It's hard to tell because she is someone that looks for clicks and looks for stuff and is business wise. And a book that I read a year ago, actually it was the audiobook of Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. One thing that he got out of there was if you have a microphone, I know it's ironic that I'm going to say this too, people with a microphone are there for themselves, right? And people are like, hey Matt, like you've got a microphone, you're there for yourselves. Yes, I'm here for myself in the way that I want a successful YouTube channel, but I'm not as business heavy as Miss Crystal, where everything I do, no matter what, and I would sell my kidneys to get views. Like I have limitations I put on myself, and there's a certain way I want to go about things. And my goal isn't to be the top YouTuber on the planet. I have specific wants and needs that drive me there. That being said, I want to bring to Phoenix. So Phoenix is a very well-known person in the AI music space, and he's a little bit polarizing. I don't know why. I actually kind of know why. He's very straight, right? He'll tell you how it is, but I like Phoenix because if I were to tell Phoenix how it is, he'd be okay with that. But he's half welcome in some communities, not welcome in others. But he's a good dude and he cares a lot about stuff. I've spoken with Phoenix a lot about a lot of different topics. He doesn't go out to hurt anybody's feelings or anything. So he has actually created an open letter specifically to address this open letter with the lawsuit. And I'll read why, and then I will read his open letter, and I'll put a link down below for you to sign that open letter that's counter to Miss Crystal's. Because I asked him, look, why don't you put in your words why you're doing this? He said, I guess I'm doing this because I see both sides of it. I know a lot of musicians and AI musicians. I see both sides of the argument, and I see this clear fear and panic from labels. I see this false narrative being put out that AI learning is stealing, and I'm sure some of it, in some cases it is, but not in this case. It's learning like a human by listening and learning patterns to understand what someone means when they say rock and roll. Humans don't know what rock and roll is until they learn what it is by hearing it. The more we hear, the more we learn to recognize it. If we play an instrument, we play it in those learned patterns. This is the same as AI. It's listening to sound patterns and learning to recreate them. It's not sampling when it creates an output based on a user's input. It's trying to create a pattern the user asked for based on all patterns it knows. I also keep seeing people on social media demonizing this. YouTubers like everyone's favorite attorney, which I mentioned before, Mr. Rick Beato, are all being upset and rallying against the troops against AI music and AI artists. And I think not only are they wrong, they're also right in a lot of ways. They're spreading these misconceptions. The letter idea came from seeing top music attorney create her own, and I thought, well, that's not a bad idea. I wonder if the actual community would get behind a counter letter. There are quite a few groups on social media with 100,000 plus members. Suno apparently has millions of users, so why not speak out too? Great. Now that was Phoenix's take on why he's doing the open letter and why we should all get behind it. I've already signed that open letter. I agree with it. But I think what I should do is read the open letter or skip that and subscribe below. If you want to support this channel, you can, and I think you can directly make a donation on the video itself. I have a PayPal link that you can go to in the description. You can go there. Also, if you want to buy a shirt, I don't make a whole lot of money off the shirts, but I really appreciate the logo getting out there. It's a cool form of support. Please note the charity I support, which is the John Fawcett Foundation. The link is here. You can either make a donation on my website or on the link itself. Read more about the John Fawcett Foundation there, or you can go to my page. I have a really cool video that I put together on there as well. So if you don't want to hear me reading off in my beautiful voice what the letter has to say, sort of skip to the end of this thing. And in the description below, you'll see a link to the open letter, but I will go ahead and read this open letter so you hear what it has to say and you can hear it from my voice. So, open letter in support of responsible AI music innovation. Cool. From independent artists, technologists, and supporters of open knowledge, we, the undersigned artists, technologists, developers, and members of the AI music community, stand united in support of responsible innovation in artificial intelligence and its role in shaping the future of musical expression. We write in direct response to the recent open letter and legal actions that seek to criminalize the training of AI models on publicly available music. Actions that threaten creativity, learning, and technological progress. AI training is not theft, it's learning. AI systems trained on publicly available audio do not steal music any more than a child learning guitar by listening to the Beatles is stealing. Human musicians have always studied, absorbed, and drawn inspiration from the music around them. That's how genres are born, how scenes evolve, and how innovation happens. Training an AI model on the patterns, styles, and structures of of available music is no different in principle. Just as no human owes royalties to artists whose music they learned on radio, Spotify, or YouTube while learning to play or write songs, neither should AI developers be forced to pay for the act of learning. The data these systems are exposed to are not being redistributed, sampled, or sold. They're analyzing, learned from, and used to create entirely new compositions, just like we do as human creators. To call this theft is misrepresentation of how AI training works, and a disservice to the future of music and art as shared, evolving culture. AI music generators are not musicians, they are tools. Suno and similar platforms are not stealing music to create competing products. They are creating new tools, advanced instruments akin to synthesizers or samplers that allow people to generate original music. No one sued the makers of synthesizers for imitating horns or digital pianos for replacing classical keys. AI music platforms are not replacing artists. They're expanding what's possible. lowering the barrier of entry, enabling new ideas, and giving unheard voices a new way to create. If developers pay for subscription or access license like any regular listener, they are well within their bounds of fair use. There is no law or logic that demands someone pay again simply for studying what they've already paid to hear. Misleading fear will only stifle progress. We are disappointed that some self-proclaimed supporters of technology have chosen to attack platforms like Suno and Udio while claiming to champion independent artists. These lawsuits are not about protecting art, they're about gatekeeping creativity and controlling innovation through fear and legal intimidation. The U.S. Copyright Office has not issued definitive rulings against AI training on music. Existing case law is still evolving, and no clear legal standard has been established. Attempts to shut down innovation before that happens do not protect artists. They protect entrenched power structures and business models that fear disruption. We stand for fair and responsible AI training using publicly available content, clarity between learning from music and unlawfully copying or sampling it, access to AI tools that democratize music creation without fear or censorship, progress that benefits all artists, not just those with legal teams and catalog leverage. Music is culture, and culture evolves. If a human can be inspired by the song they hear, an AI system built by humans, trained by humans, guided by humans, should be allowed to do the same. We oppose these lawsuits. We support responsible AI development, and we believe that music should remain a space for everyone to create, explore, and grow with or without a record label. We invite all creators, technologists, and music lovers to join us in advocating for a future where AI and human artistry thrive together. Sincerely, the AI music community.